Yo, what up, internet? Welcome to Bricks and Beer, episode 12. I kind of shook the fuck out of the camera there. Cheers, guys. Yeah, this is episode 12. It's kind of a big deal, I guess. It's the dozenth one. Is that a word? Dozenth? Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy your beer. Hopefully you're drinking beer. Hopefully you're drinking beer with me. This is the 12th one, which means I get to say, when people ask me, Andrew, how many of these stupid YouTube video blog podcast rant dumb things have you done? I could say about a dozen, which is nice because that means 12. Which I guess technically it could be like the baker's dozen because I've done 13 and a half. I don't know. The numbering system's all fucked up at this point. So anyway, enjoy your guys. That doesn't even make sense. Enjoy yourself, guys. Welcome to episode 12. Cheers. If you want to watch the other ones, you can click a link. It'll be over here on this big, dumb, gray base plate. It's very gray. It's very big. It's kind of a boring one. Might be contextual. So, this one. This is going to be an interesting one. This one is about the SHIP, or SHIP. Seriously huge investment in parts, patience, pennies. There's lots of other words that fit in there. It's an OG term, so it goes back to the classic space days, and you gotta respect your elders, right? You gotta do the old school thing, which is you gotta cut the egg rolls. You gotta tell the dudes who started it all that it's all because of them. I'm going to name 4 dudes. I'm missing a bunch of people. But these are the 4 dudes that stick out in my mind. So you got Mark. Fucking Sandlin. Built the Asimodeus. I'm going to throw a link right over there. That is the ship that started it all for me. It's got a giant skull on the front. It opened up. It had a light. All this shit. I did a copy version, which I guess I'll link to over there. But mine was smaller. It was micro scale. So Sandlin and Giddens, they're like the fucking old school shipbuilders. And when I say ship, back in the day, it didn't mean that you built a spire that was a micro scale spire. This was a full-fledged minifig scale gigantic thing, right? There's Mark and Chris. There's also Dan and Adrian. Dan, I fucking love. I hang out with Dan all the time. He still builds massive fucking spaceships, and his shipbuilding skills, unlike anybody else's, because he has crazy hyperactive children, which means like they can take his ship and smash it against the table. Nothing happens. Perfectly fine. Everybody else's builds destroyed. His are fine. And then there's Adrian, and Adrian's a size queen, so I don't really want to talk about Adrian in detail. But know your fucking old elders. Yeah, so that's where it starts, right? And I guess I should back up and I should explain the SHIP. It means that it's about yay big. This is the century mark. This is 100 studs. It doesn't look as impressive as you think. Like, this used to be, for me, a giant measuring scale. Like, holy fuck, could you build something that's this big? Nowadays, people build ships for SHIPtember, which we'll get to, that are about as detailed and parts intensive as this, which is a different animal versus what in my mind was this. But this, when you look at it, like even looking at me on camera now, and I was thinking about this earlier, this is not fucking all that like mind-blowing. I don't know why it was 8 years ago mind-blowing. We'll see. So, there's the OG thing, right? Like, it was a big deal. Like, back in the day, because people didn't do it often. And when they did, it was like, everybody was like, just shy of getting here. It was always like, oh, I'm right at the 80 stud mark. I'm 75, and this is huge. So if you look at, like, the official sets, none of them are obviously near this, at least back in the day. Now, there's a UCS Millennium Falcon. It's probably in this range. There's some Star Destroyers and some shit. I don't have any of those sets, so I don't really like buy gigantic official Lego sets. Sorry I'm swooshing this. It's just like fun. I feel like Donatello right now. So yeah, so the OG thing, it was it was sort of like a legendary thing. It wasn't like a rite of passage the way it is now. It was people would sort of like talk in hushed, whispered tones about like, oh, he's building a ship, and don't talk back 'cause it's gonna take months, and it's crazy. It's like people who like build a boat on the roof. It's kind of the same thing, right? Speaking of boats, I should talk about the beer. The show's called Bricks and Beer. This is Anchor Steam. See? Ship joke. It writes itself. It's pretty good. I've seen kind of a weird resurgence of Anchor Steam recently. I don't know what happened to their marketing people, but they're fucking trying to put them back on the map or something. I drank this because it's decent, and it's at the liquor store by my house. This is one of the few beers that I remember my mom drinking. I think we had like 6 of these in the fridge one time in 1989. I don't know. But it does give me kind of the feels, I guess, for that. And it's good. Like, I was going to go with the porter. I was going to go with like one of their newer, like fancier beers that people probably get more excited about. But stick with your roots, kids. Go old school. I don't know why the theme of this is go old school, but apparently it is. Alright, so let's talk spaceships. So I have sort of a history with building spaceships, as you would imagine. But the official ship thing, so like I didn't know this was a thing until I got on the internet, started talking to other Lego dorks, and found out this was a thing. So I built 2 ships pre-internet, which are roughly about this big. I built one that was a guitar ship. It was really cool. See, I'm just going to switch this the whole time. It's super distracting. It was based on Interstellar 5555, which is the Daft Punk concept music video anime. It was a bunch of different music videos for, I think it's Aerodynamic is the Daft Punk album. And there's a story about rock and roll saving the world, and it's very anime-like. But anyway, the main hero flies around in a giant flying V guitar ship, which I thought was fucking rad. So in college, in my sort of gray age, I built something about this size that looked like a giant flying V guitar, and it was very low res. I might have a photo somewhere. If I do, I'll link to it somewhere, but imagine it's flying V guitar. And then I built a hover ship. I built a Matrix hover ship, which is pretty cool. I actually like ended up redoing that hover ship years later, but it was about yay big, which was impressive for the time, for sure. It was black, because I have more black Lego than any other kind of Lego. And then I found Classic Space. So Classic Space, the forum, the online virtual community, and you learn dorky terms and acronyms and other niche hobby bullshit. And SHIP, big deal, big fucking deal. And this was like, this was the gauntlet. Like, nobody built more than one ship, really. It was like, once you did this, it was pretty fucking done. You could just be like, oh, well, I built that one ship that one time, and people would just fucking freak out. Nowadays, not so much. So there was Classic Space, and I found out about this, and at the time, there was a kid named Nick Castor. He's designing industrial furniture or something now, and he was like attempting to build this very Homeworld-esque ship. Homeworld was kind of the hot shit 5-6 years ago, and I wanted to do it, so I built a kind of shitty Homeworld ship that I never really posted. I guess I'll post a link over there. It was cool. It was supposed to be minifig scale, but it read more micro scale, and like it had some interesting shaping to it. I would say that was the first real like all capital letters ship that I built. And I do have something new to show off. I'm just baiting and teasing you guys, and you're gonna have to listen to my bullshit for a little bit, and then we'll show you the cool new shit. I also have some other random official product, I guess I can show you. So stay tuned, bear with me. So yeah, so I built that big, like, yellow exploration ship. It fit all the parameters. It was very homeworld-esque. It actually kind of looked like this color scheme because it was mostly yellow and it had some red. And this is a dangerous color scheme to work in because this is the McDonald's color scheme. So it's a little challenging. And then right after that, I went to my first convention and like everything changed. And then I got a bunch of dark red, which is all right there. And I got it on the cheap. And I've done many things with it. I've built spaceships, 2. I've built entire army. I built like a whole Warhammer Tau army. But the first spaceship I built is the Scalathrax, which I'll post a link there. It's Warhammer-esque, and it's like chaos, but it's also Reaper-esque. People kind of like mishmash those two things together. It was hardcore. Like, it had fucking skeletons on it, and like a giant blade, and it was like, rad. And then I tore that apart, and then I built Tau Army, which I guess I'll link to. This one's going to be work in post. And then I built no ships until Simon, community hero, my Canadian Asian brother, decided to host an event called SHIPtember. See, this is the dumbest visual aid ever because I'm just playing with this constantly. I should put this down, but I can't. SHIPtember. SHIPtember is a challenge to build one of those in a month. And that's aggressive. It's crazy. Like, I build pretty fast. I would say I am a fast builder. There's not a ton of obstacles in my way. I have no children. I have a wife. I'm married, so there's that. But it's like, and I have a job, and I have, like, real-world responsibilities, but you can make time, and I don't feel like if you plan appropriately, it's all that crazy to do, but then it is. So SHIPtember, I have a love-hate relationship with it, right? Because it's like, you see awesome ships, like, fucking amazing shit comes out. I'm going to link to one dude right now that's like, I think he just won all of SHIPtember right there. This dude, I don't know his name, but I'm going to link to you, and I will link below. He built a fucking flying wizard rock castle ship, which is the most unique, innovative concept ever, which is fucking rad. And the execution looks gorgeous. It looks like there's amethyst and like a god's eye kind of thing, and like all the swirly magical parts are beautifully integrated. So there's shit like that that comes out. Like, mind-blowing, awesome, fuck yeah, you built that in a month. And the, like, building in a month part, like, for something like that, it's like, doesn't even matter. It's just like, you built that, you get props. That's fucking rad. I don't care if it took you a year or a month. Granted, it's nice to see shit quicker, but I don't think it's real necessary. And then there is the vast majority of SHIPtember, which looks kind of like this. There's more antennas on it. There might be some sails. And I'm not hating on people who are like, dude, not all spaceships have to look alike. Functional spaceships have solar sails and would be very wraith-like and thin and all blah blah. That's fine. You're missing the point. Like, if you're cheating, or you're not even cheating, if you're going through loopholes to do the bare minimum, you got an 89%, but you want the A, I get it. I kind of get it. Like, I'm lazy as fuck sometimes. But to me, and this is where this thing is so much fucking bullshit, right? So this is the arbitrary measure. This is the 100 studs. This is the century mark. This doesn't mean shit. It's a one-dimension measurement. Back in the day, that one-dimension measurement, it really meant 100 studs by enough to seat a minifig. So at the bare minimum, if you built a fucking spear with just an engine on one end and a cockpit on the other, you're probably at like 6 by 100, which I've seen some ships, but like for the most part, it was like fully flushed out, awesome. And when I heard the word ship, capital SHIP. It meant a thing at that time. My first BritCon, and I'm going to reference this later, I hung out with Brahm for the first time, and Brahm brought a ship, which I will link. This one's going to be a bitch in post. And this ship is awesome because it's a fucking crazy space, like, passenger liner. But at the same time, it's also awesome because I watched Brahm pull this thing out of a suitcase that was perfectly measured to fit the suitcase and all modular, and he, like, fucking smacked all this shit together, and it was rock solid, and it was bigger than his suitcase, quite obviously, because it fit in several pieces, and it was like this feat of magic. It was like, holy fuck, like, you're not fucking around anymore, right? Like, that's the whole idea behind why it's all capital letters. It's that you're not fucking around. You're not building something quick, something easy, something momentary, something that's not going to be critical part, the I, the investment. You need to put your soul into the beast. I think that's what separates real ships from number making ships, from, I don't want to say the fuckery, but let's just say it. It's the fuckery. Like, there's a lot of fuckery in SHIPtember. Speaking of fuckery, I guess I should show this off. So I built a ship 2 years ago for the first SHIPtember, and I won an award, and I guess I'll show the trophy. Sai, this one's for you. Up here somewhere, and here we go. So I had a big dumb stupid ship, and it was actually cool. It was microscale. As much shit as I'm talking about microscale, still the bulk of a minifig scale ship. I'll link to it over there. Anyway, so it was cool. It was like it had these. The concept was that it was like a giant space whale that had died, and then people had carved cities out of the bone and like turned it into this massive floating, flying civilization. So it had these really cool, like, microscale cities in it and all that shit. Not what got noticed. What got noticed was me being a jackass in front of the big wall of Lego. And I won Best Swoosh. So there's me in Lego with a spaceship. Pretty much looking exactly like I looked. Like, dumbass, beer in hand and all. So shout out to you, Sai, for sending me a trophy for being me, I guess. And then last year, I did not technically participate in SHIPtember, and the reason why is BritCon. Specifically, it's Star Vikings. Fucking shout out to you, my Star Viking brethren. We did this big fly-in ice base thing. I built a spaceship. I'll throw a photo up over there again. All of these will be linked below, too. I noticed several people are still like, hey, I can't see the things you're pointing to. It's probably because YouTube and Google sucks. Like, if you're not logged in and you're watching this on a computer in the ideal viewing environment, you're not going to get shit. If you watch this on a phone, still not going to get shit. Which I don't understand, because the fucking screen is clickable, right? Like, how could you not have annotations work there? I don't know. Fuck you, YouTube. So anyway, Star Vikings, it was pretty cool. I built a spaceship that was yay big. It technically met the big dumb ruler. It was cool because I put a Bluetooth speaker in it, and I could blare fucking Viking metal as I, like, ran around the convention. I had a plastic Viking hat on. Like, the whole deal was awesome. It was awesome. So, enough with the fuckery, right? I've been teasing you guys for a while. Told you there's a ship. It's coming. Tonight is Monday. 3 days from now. 3 days. I'm probably not going to post this tonight, so probably I'll post this tomorrow. 2 days from now. Get your fucking life rearranged. Get to Seattle. Get to BritCon. Go there. There'll be a link below. I don't fucking care. It's Queen Anne, Seattle. You hijack a train. I'm not endorsing hijacking a train. Just get there. Just fucking get there. If you're there, you'll get to see what's over here. What's over here, it's a new acronym that I'm going to coin right now for the first time here on Bricks and Beer. Maybe you guys will adopt it, maybe you won't. Maybe it'll just be me. We're going to go with BDS. Or we can go BDSS. Whichever you prefer. I prefer BDS. I think it's easier to say. It stands for Big Dumb Spaceship. Critical parts. Big. Big. Dumb. I don't know. I guess I'm self-depreciating. And it's a spaceship. So, without any further ado, hopefully I don't drop this. Holy Jesus. This is a big dumb spaceship. This is the Beast. The Beast weighs a fuck ton and is approximately 100 studs in length. It's roughly, let's see, that's a 32 base plate. There's probably about 6. So we're just going to call that 40 studs wide at the choke, and then we'll go with another 16 for the engines. I don't know. It's like fucking, it's massive, guys. Like, this is a fuck ton of a spaceship. It's got 2 cockpits. I guess technically this would be the cockpit. It's got 2 pilots in there. Here's your sort of mobile command center. And this is probably not going to work at all. But there's a dude drinking coffee a la Avatar in there, you know? Because that's how you do. And it's big. And it's got refueling hoses up here. Shout out to you, Fredel. I know you don't watch the fucking show, but this is for you. Refueling. Those of you who were at BrickCon last year maybe get that. Yeah, and it's designed to go on a display. And that display is Space Nom Part 2, which I was going to be coy about this and, like, keep this under wraps, but why? And also, like, you guys probably saw Space Nom, and if you watch the show, you know what's going on. And, like, literally this is a fucking pain in the ass to hold right now. Yeah, so there is some action features. You'll see there's rotating engines. They click out, they click in, and they rotate. It's a little parts cocky. Like, there are 4 Millennium Falcon dishes on here, which are pretty cool. I own 1/7 of a Millennium Falcon, the UCS Millennium Falcon. I got to split it between me and 6 other dudes. We did a BrickCon speed build thing. And, yeah, and then, there's also these, which are from the Falcon, which are from the homie Pete Reed. Fucking shout out to you, Pete. This is old as fuck, which, this is what makes the whole thing, in my mind. Like, this being here excuses everything. There is also another action feature, which I'm going to show you, and I'm going to put this down, because this weighs way too fucking much to be fucking around with. Boom! Big ass cargo doors. Right? Cool. So what are the big ass cargo doors for? They are for some dudes. And they can fit in there. And they can land up here. They can fly around and shoot motherfuckers in the face. So there you go. This is the Beast. There may be photos. I figured now would be the time to do this because I'm going to pack this up shortly to put it on a plane and hopefully have it survive. Oh, I should show you this. This is gangster. Look at that fucking pinup girl art. Oh, gangster shit. Yeah, so there's no working doors here. That's kind of bullshit. There is a hatch over here with a folding ramp. A la Dan Jassim. So it folds back up. There's a door over here, which nobody gives a fuck about. So you're gonna get all the shit out of the way. Woo! Yeah, there's things like fucking trucking around a bazooka. It's heavy as balls. Oh, I should show you something. Hold on. Oh man, I'm like breaking shit off of it all the time. So, this big dumb thing, right? This is the dick measuring stick. This is what everybody fucking is worried about. You know what I'm worried about? This. Because this is the size of my suitcase. This is some arbitrary bullshit thing where you get to capitalize all the letters. This is reality. This is as big as I can fucking go. So this spaceship is a little modular. The ideal being from here, take the cockpit off, to the back would be that 80 studs. But because I needed to be able to do this, I had to move this back 2 studs, which means this whole back part now no longer fits. So from here, back actually comes off now. So that sort of solves my transport problems. We will see how this arrives in Seattle. It is huge. Like, look at me fucking trying to be swole, lifting this thing up. Oh, dude, this will be the photo for the fucking thumbnail. What a dumbass. Alright, yeah, so fucking ships. That's it. Go to BrickCon. Come see Space Nom, Part 2. Yeah. Oh, I guess, I could talk about some other shit. So, when you go to pack this kind of shit up, right? People always ask me, like, how do you get this fucking shit to other places? I'm like, well, usually I just mail it, or, you know, you put it in a suitcase and hope the dude doesn't fall asleep. This is the secret. Saran wrap the fuck out of your modules. Break it down, pull all the breakable shit off. Saran wrap the fuck out of this. The idea being, if, for some reason, tragedy happens, somebody crushes the fuck out of your thing, everything kind of maintains its shape, and you can kind of just, you know, do one of these, and you just kind of like squish it all back onto each other, and it's worked. It's worked. So like this, hopefully I'm gonna look like a total asshole if all this shit shows up like demolished, but like this is good enough. Like just fucking throw this in there, wrap a t-shirt around it maybe, and toss it in the suitcase. So before we get out of here, we'll talk 2 quick official LEGO things. One, new Mixels are out, and this dude's fucking hilarious. This is Snacks. He's part of the Munchos. So I wanted Snacks because he's awesome in purple and has these purple domes and these light purple parts, which are hollow, which I was like, that's such an odd choice. Until I realized the genius of this. See, you put it in the mouth. Now he eats it. So it's like functional storage in a Mixel. Who knew? Following on the trend of weird pink and purple shit, my boy Moro told me to buy this set. This is Emma's tourist kiosk. She has a kiosk. There's a bench. There's a mailbox for mailing your illicit goods. And she has a kiosk where she sells like postcards and bottles of elixir and crazy weird hypno lollipops that you can't see. Oh, there you go. See? Hypnotizing. Woo. Did not buy this for hypno lollipops. I bought this for 2 reasons. One is these are brand new. It's like crazy curly Q parts. You can't see this at all. Look up the inventory for this set. This is weird. This is new and crazy. 2 studs on the top, curly Q on the side. The curly Q doesn't interact with any of the existing LEGO parts. And the other part, which is not fucking here, it's over there. Live, uncut. Stay with me. Somewhere up here. Alright, here we go. It comes with this. And this is the weirdest accessory ever. So I understand this is supposed to be like a rack that you look at like goggles and flowers on or something. The flowers, I guess, make sense. The goggles don't make any sense because they just plug into the back of their heads. But there is this new piece my buddy Jeff and Mario and Zach, fellow Whacklugians, we're calling these the inkwells. So they take the feather insert. This little nubbin is a stud, so it, or a bar, so it plugs in there. Other side takes a stud, as you can see by Snack's clever demoing. This is fucking crazy, guys. Like, so you can do all kinds of shit like this. So you can do just real quick, little snot action, like no problem. It's clear. Who doesn't like parts in clear? You get 5 of them. It's a $10 set. I would say if you're looking for the new hotness in parts, pick this up. You get a weird Friends doll. Fuck it. Parts is parts. Oh, yeah, the dudes. I guess I'll throw this out there. If you want to come to BrickCon and you want to be part of the display, you can send me a Flickr mail. Maybe I'll tell you how to build this. Not like we need more. But you want to be part of the magic? Fuck yeah. If you don't want to actually spend any effort, though, and you want to be part of the magic, just come find me. We'll drink a beer together. Yeah. Fucking, it's a trap. On that note, episode 12. Be good. I will see you kids in Seattle. Till next time. Peace.